What's up? What's up? What's up? It's your boy Prizm God in the place to be. Man, it's been a while since I've done this. Man, hold on. Oh, I got some on the side. How y'all doing tonight? Welcome to Prizm Gods. I know it's been a minute. Um, and that's why I call this show kind of like a special occasion. I really didn't have any rhyme or reason for it. We really just wanted to take our time to do what we love, man. I mean, good vibes. Yeah, thank you, Kendall. Appreciate that. Basically just bring out some good vibes, man. We talk about what's going on in the hobby. But more importantly, man, this is a lot of work. I mean, anybody that's out there that's putting on podcasts for people to listen, bringing out good information, I think it's very good for us, to talk about what's going on in the hobby. Because, I mean, we do this every day. A lot of us live this every single day. So I don't know. People have been asking me to bring back this show for a while. I see people bringing on their own shows, doing their own thing, and kudos to you guys because I know how much work it actually takes. I don't know. I'm just gonna go ahead and get to it. It's been a while since I've done this. So I feel a little rusty, but I'm gonna bring in the one and only Kobe Collector.
Man, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's going on, man?
Hey,
So
man. Thank you for putting this together, this special occasion. Uh, I was getting a little jealous there, man. I saw you like on 6 podcasts in like 2 days. I was like, "What's up? You just
yeah,
want to flip ship and go somewhere else? What's going on?"
no, that was never the intentions, man. But I think at the end of the day, like, first of all, I want to say I appreciate you coming back to the show. Am I frozen?
No, you're good.
Okay. I appreciate you coming back to the show. I appreciate you, being here in the beginning aspect of the show because I think it's important, right? Um, we kind of, we went through a lot of trials and tribulations in the early stage of doing this podcast, and I think that a lot of people have mimicked and brought on, like a lot of things that we implemented and I'm thankful for that because it's like, it's like almost like a pat in the back. Nobody will really ever just say, man, I appreciate you doing this. But sometimes we see those things. I don't know if you see that or not, but when I travel the world going to these different shows, we get a lot of good energy and people always ask about what you're doing and what's going on with you. So talk to everybody about that.
Well, from what I hear, man, I'm retired. Retired from the game, retired from the hobby, man. But how much can you really be retired if it's embedded in you, right? It's in your soul. It's part of your culture. It's part of who you are. And so, I mean, although you can stray and you can get farther away from the hobby, you're never really gone. So through this time, the death of PSA, as many can say, had to take a back seat, right? Had to figure out where I needed to pivot to, and found a couple avenues here and there, and glad to kind of operate in the shadows and be in tune with what was going on, but not in front of everything. I let you right that ship and coast that boat to all the shows, man. And it's funny because out of the blue one day, I get a text and said, "Hey, you're retired?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So I text Ralph and said, "Man, what are you telling these folks out there in the world, man?" And it was a fun, back and forth that we went through. But man, has the hobby changed, right? A lot of money got introduced, a lot of money got taken out, and we're seeing kind of it plateau a little bit, and I think it might start growing legs again.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that. But before we go too deep into this, I know we kind of a little rusty. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we're a little rusty. So pardon you guys for a second while we just go ahead and drop the show. Let's go. Oh, and just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. It's your boy Prism God and the one and only. There
Kobe
you go.
collected.
I don't know. I feel like the screen is frozen. Is it frozen for you?
Nah, I'm looking good on my end. Look, You were showing that clip, man, and it brings back a lot of great memories. But there was a card there, right, that came across the screen. It
Yeah.
was a Kobe Topps Chrome rookie card. Whatever happened to that card?
That Kobe Topps Chrome PSA 9 is still missing in action. I think the USPS, they inherited a nice card. It had no green on it. It's a really nice card. It is what it is. At this point, it's gone. It's
Yeah.
gone.
Hey man, but you've hit some bumps in the road with shipping, and I know that we're probably going off topic. And for a lot of you guys that are just tuning in for the first time or coming back, we kind of go off the dome a little bit. We do try to keep to a script. We do have some stuff that we know that we want to talk about.
Yeah.
But I just had a scary scenario, man. So as many of you guys know, I sub a lot of cards for a lot of people across the nation, across the world. And I had just got an order back from PSA that I was shipping out to one of my clients, and I shipped it out on the second, and here we are on the 15th, and it was nowhere to be found, right? And
Mm.
the dude wasn't tripping or anything; he was pretty cool about it. But there were his childhood cards, that he'd been collecting since he was a kid, and I mean the grades weren't the best, but for him it was about protecting his cards, and here he goes like 50, 60 slabs just vanish into thin air, right? I,
Hmm.
I tried to file a claim, talked to some reps, and all of a sudden it popped up. But I mean, that's horrible, right? And it reminded me of your PSA 9 Kobe no green that you had, and I mean, you even had a similar scenario not too long ago, right, with your trade.
Yeah, man. Trey Young, it took about 3 weeks to come in. It actually took about 3 days to get from Australia to Memphis, Tennessee, and it sat in Memphis, Tennessee for about 2.5 weeks before I even got it in my hand. It's
Man,
pretty
but
terrible.
you got it now, right?
Yeah, 100%. I do have it. I do have it. Yeah, I definitely have it. But I mean, the mail it is what it is. I try to stick with what works for me. I used to use USPS for a lot of reasons. And I mean, for the people that are watching and listening, I think one of the things, I tell a lot of people don't put sports cards on there. Don't put
No.
stuff that are like keywords. Don't put the name of your company on there. If you're a card company, stay away from those type of things so it doesn't look attractive to people, in the black market or whatever you may want to call it. So if you do those things, appreciate that, Vic, man. It's good to be back as well. So I think it's good to ultimately just like focus on what works for you. But these are some of the tips that work for me. I use FedEx when I'm dealing with expensive stuff. I try to overnight it, and I usually try to get it the fastest way possible. I think you probably know me. I want everything quick. I don't want to wait for anything.
I'm like, but Ralph, it's gonna cost like $300 to get
I
to
don't
you.
care.
I don't care.
I
I
don't
don't
care.
care.
I want it. I want
Yeah,
it tomorrow. I want it right now.
yeah.
So it's very important. But I guess that kind
But
of
it's
leads us.
interesting you say that though, and for us and a lot of you guys tuning in, a lot of what our show kind of derived from, and the meaning behind our show was to educate the common enthusiast. Maybe you were someone new coming into the hobby, and you probably needed to ask some questions, and you didn't know who to ask, and or you had some concerns, or you wanted some insights on the hobby. That's
Yep.
what birthed this show, right? And that's what birthed a lot of other shows that come after us, because we see a lot more shows that are coming about. And so that's what it's for. And so in this shipping topic that we're talking about, I don't know if a lot of people really know, but a lot of companies like USPS, FedEx, UPS, they won't insure they won't pay you back for anything over $1,000. So even if you pay $4,000 in insurance, you're not always guaranteed to get $4,000 back. So I know a lot of people are big on insurance packages, and keep on doing that, right? You're going to protect yourself as much as you can and limit, the potential loss. And we're seeing losses happen more and more. But yeah, do yourself a favor, man. When you're declaring items, don't say trading cards, right? That's the last thing you want to do on that. And like today, I was at UPS mailing off some cards, and that was one of the things that they tell you is, what are you mailing? Man, a collectible. Well, what kind of collectible? Well, they're trading cards, but don't put that on the package, because the last thing I want to do is have somebody open it up and have an early Christmas present. And so, what they suggested to say for moving forward is just say it's a gift. right? Just say it's a gift to someone. You don't really have to acknowledge what the contents are, and let it go, let it fly, right? But 9 times out of 10, hopefully it gets there, man. I've had some little hiccups here as of late, especially with USPS. They don't scan the packages almost until they're dropping it off on somebody's doorstep.
Yeah.
But it's some of the challenges that you have when you're selling in this enterprise that we call, the hobby in itself. But that's one way that you have to do. You have to mail cards out, because especially if you're not local or at shows.
Hmm. And on more serious note, I would like to say, man, you sound really good with your new mic and your camera and your computer over there. You sound really good over there. You sound professional.
Oh man, I learned from the best. I hit you up one day and I said, you kept complaining about a mic, you kept complaining about a camera, you kept complaining about everything. See, that's probably one of the reasons I had to stop doing the damn show, because I had to give you something to stop complaining about all the dang time. But I told you to send me that link on Amazon. We went ahead and ordered the mic, and hopefully it is coming through a little more clear.
Yep. All right. So we do appreciate you guys, for the people that are watching and listening, or watching as we are live, right? Feel free to hit us up with questions. We are very proactive when it comes to the show, and any ideas or questions that you may have across the board, we'll answer them to the best of our abilities. We'll try to stay focused on what we're talking about, our topics, and just join in if you want. But yeah, I think you're 100% right when it comes to the USPS situation, and just kind of going forward. We did want to talk about some things, though. I think we have a list of a couple other things we wanted to talk about. Genuinely, do you remember those topics? Because you kind of leaned on it a little bit, because you talked about PSA a little bit. I think you want to talk about PSA economy order. PSA economy order is back, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I think there was something else you want to talk about, and we kind of limbo into this, right?
Okay.
We talked about in the early show. You said you went back and did some little soul searching and reminiscing to see what kind of content you were going to come out with today's show,
Yeah.
and we talked about the death of the sports card, right?
Woo.
And I think a lot of that had to do with PSA stopping, the grading, right? And we called it the grading wheel, where you bust a lot of wax, and with the cost of the wax going up, the only way to really make your money back was to grade base cards, right? And
Hmm.
nowadays it's a big high risk, sometimes low reward at times, because sometimes even if you pull the best card out of a box, you can't even make your money back,
Nope.
And so I know with PSA and them going on a backlog and then shutting down all the services, it really put, and I know it pumped a lot of brakes for me, because I wasn't getting into breaks as much. I wasn't buying as many boxes, because there was no point in sending the card in to grade $600
Yep.
when you got it back, it was worth $100. So I mean, obviously we do this for a hobby. We do this, in some cases to make a little bit of return back so we can feed the hobby. But with PSA going away, it really killed the base card. Would you agree with that?
Yes. Do you remember when we actually talk about the death of the base cards?
Oh man, it had to be mid last year, about 6 to 8 months ago, man.
So it was safe to assume. I'm hitting on something that Wiz the Collector always tells me. He's like, and a couple other people say the same thing, and I think you may have admitted to it a little bit. You was kind of like, they call me the card prophet. So, hey, it is what it is. I don't always bet. I don't bat 1,000, but I'm like really close. Like I know what we should be buying, and I learned to pivot a little bit. But it was cool talking about the depth of the base cards, because I felt like at that point, I think Luca PSA 10 Prizm base cards was probably 1,000, maybe even $1,500 at that
Yep.
time, and now they're like $400. I mean, I talked to my friend Jesse today, and we literally talked about the fact that maybe that's an area that I strongly feel this. I think I was on another podcast. You could probably check somebody's podcast within the last 2 weeks, where I literally talked about that we're going to see an uptick on base cards. If we continue to introduce new collectors to the hobby, they can't afford the mid-tier to high-level cards. I mean, you think about what Luca costs. A Prizm Blue is $40,000, $50,000,
Yeah.
whereas a base card, you're still an area and opportunity, especially when we all know it used to be $2,500.
Yeah, it's far from there. It's
Yes.
far from there, but I think a lot of people got a little smarter though, with the decline in grading. Right, Beckett, PSA both went down. If anyone grades cards or knows about cards, those are the two powerhouses. I think it gave a lot of business over to SGC and some of the HGA and CGC and you name it, right? All the new companies that came about once they shut down, and obviously there was some business opportunity there for them. But honestly, it killed the hobby for a lot of people. They weren't breaking as much because they couldn't send in cards. Obviously, with the new stuff, the new product that's coming out, quality control is through the floor. And I think that you'll see some of the Prizm burrows that honestly were selling for $800 up into the Super Bowl. I think a lot of that has to do with low pops, because of the quality control on it. But I mean, that in itself showed that the hype behind a player could start boosting it back up. I mean, when's the last time a Prizm base card sold for $800? I mean, that dude was doing crazy numbers up until the loss. But I don't know if we're gonna talk about upside down 50 Cent yet, but the,
Not
the
yet, not yet, man.
the economy orders are definitely coming back. I think you're going to see a pivot in the hobby here coming up because those cars that cost $50 that you can get off of eBay, I think you're going to be able to grade them for $50 and potentially sell them for $300 if they come back PSA 10s, right? And you'll start to see that wheel starting to formulate again. And once that snowball starts rolling down the hill, only time will tell what starts to happen.
No, that makes sense. I mean, so I guess my question to you is how does somebody become successful? And I'll be devil's advocate a little bit and say, how does somebody become successful in this hobby right now? If you're coming in from the entry level and you cannot afford mid tier to high tier, how am I supposed to become successful?
Man, I was on eBay today and I was looking at some of the stuff that's getting released, and I wonder if the reason why this guy's base card, right, is going for so much money is because the return of economy, right? So what I'm referring to is 2020 Top Series 1 Wander Franco. And so if you hop on eBay right now, and I know the product just released and it's his first rookie card, but Wander Franco is pretty good. His base cards are selling for $40, right? $40 for a base card that just released. You know what Luis Robert is selling for? $5, right? And I think Robert is going to have a bounce back year too, but $40 for a Wander Franco, and I wonder if that has to do with economy coming back. I think that if you go and buy a $40 base card of a Wander Franco right now, you grade it, and PSA is saying that it's a 90-day guarantee on all economy orders. If you get it back in 3 months, that card might be worth $200-300. So that's a perfect scenario of being able to spend maybe 40, 50, $100, depending on what that price point on that Wander Franco comes down to, that you're going to be able to turn a profit, right? So, I mean, it doesn't have to be gargantuan. You know what your lane is, and you manage your funds and your budget based on that. But I think that there's going to be some dividends to be paid if you
Well,
follow a good model.
well, that's really funny that you say that. I literally was the exact same person. I was literally the exact same person that you just described. I mean, people don't realize the amount of work that really goes into becoming successful in the hobby, and that's the grind work, right? That's the work that people are not willing to do to become successful in this hobby. Is to buying a car for $50, grading it. If it PSA 10 is now it's worth $300, that offsets cost. So I think the people got to realize that. And I say that to say, and this is why I feel like base cards. There's literally an area opportunity here where I remember when I was buying Zion Prizm base cards and it was $30. In my mind, psychologically, I'm only expecting to make $100 to $200 on that
Yeah.
card. That was all. That was literally all I was thinking in 2019. I mean, yeah, this is no 2000. Is that 19 or 20?
Yeah,
Like
it was
early 2000.
19. It
Okay,
was 19.
2019. So in 2019, I'm thinking to myself like, man, I told my wife we're gonna buy for 30. I grade it. I make a couple $100. We do this times 200. You know what I mean? And then you keep going. So I said it to say for the people out there, if you're new to the hobby, and there's still an opportunity
Yeah.
with PSA economy. You just basically described it. Maybe the thing is what you guys have to kind of figure out is what's worth holding on to for that time frame, so you don't get hit with what I had to deal with in December, which was caught the downtick of everything, and now we're in a different market. By the time I get it back, it's not worth $300. Now it's worth $100, and that's what I have into it because I bought it for 50. I spent 50 to grade it, and this is where we are. So I think hopefully everybody can become a little bit more smart about what we're buying. But I just wanted to hit some of these comments that people were talking about right now. So Kendall Farrell says, "Do you think we still see a base card bump when a product like Top Series 1 that just released has a print run of 8 times 3 years ago?" And I'm going to answer that simply by saying yes. If a player is hot, if a player is hot, it will continue to trend up. Now
Yeah.
you that's
But
it.
here goes the other thing, right? And I know that Fanatics bought out Tops, right? And so we'll probably see some iteration of Bowman and Tops in the upcoming future, right? But that nostalgia, right, of Tops and its ending, and it's pretty similar to what happened to Upper Deck when they lost their licensing back in 2000. I think it was 10, 11. You're going to see that nostalgia hit, right? And if they're good and they're hot, I mean, you're never going to be able to go back in time and remake, a Wander Franco base card. And I think that dude's legit. Actually, dude's putting up major numbers last year in the playoffs, so I think he's going to be legit. But yeah, and I mean, you even see some of the numbered cards, and that's probably why the numbered cards are even more sought off and more valuable. There's a Wander Franco powder blue, and I'm referencing powder blue, and I'm referencing Top Series 1 today because it just released and there's a lot of stuff hitting eBay now, and the stuff's going bananas. And so the reason why I think some of the golds that are out of 2022, and then some of the blues that's out of 50, there's a Wander Franco blue out of 50 that's at $2,000 with 4 days left, and we're talking about a Top Series 1 card. And so who knows what that card does as a PSA 10, because paper is really easy to mess up on the corner. So once it grades, we'll see what it comes out as. But he's insane, right? His gold out of 2022, because they're numbered to the year that they release, it's at $800. I mean, I've seen some sell for $800. The PSA 10 Roberts golds don't even sell for $800, man. So to see some of those cards do some of that numbers, and I know it's because it's a release, and release cards are always going to be the highest when they first come out because everybody wants them. But still, I mean, to see that card do $40 on release day, I think it's substantial, right? We saw Joe Burrow's doing $200-300 on release day, and yes, they trended down, but as soon as he went to the Super Bowl, you started seeing them trend back up to $100-200. So, I mean, there is a wave that eventually comes back up if they're good enough, right? And you just hopefully you bet on the right horse.
No problem. You're absolutely right. So, and I just want to acknowledge a couple things. I know Keith Summers. I want to say welcome to the page. He made a comment a minute ago asking, "I'm new to the page. Who is the owner of Prizm Gawds? Who is in charge of Culture Collisions?" We are both Prizm Gawds, and I am the guy who runs Culture Collision. Nice to meet you. Virtually meet you.
Yeah, he's the one, and he's the original Prizm God, man. And we started Prizm Gods, which is plural, on this show, and you see a little picture there in the background. A hoodie he made, an awesome hoodie he made of the two of us at a show where he was scratching his head because he don't know why he bought. I don't know what the hell he bought, but he was scratching his head for some damn reason, man. The memories that we have over the last couple of years now, man, and all the people that we've touched and talked to, man. Thank you for all the support as well. And I don't want to get on to the mushy gushy stuff, man, but seeing some of the comments, seeing some of the interaction, looking at the photos and the clip that happened at the beginning, all you can do is smile and understand that it is a road and it is a lot of work that goes into this.
All right, so Thomas Willis said the grading price point is too high for base. If you hit nines, you lost money. If you could break even on nines, then maybe.
Yeah.
Do you want to answer that first?
I guess it just depends on what the price point is at. All right. Obviously, if you were spending $600 to grade a base card, it probably wasn't going to make sense. But now that we're trending down in the $50 range, and you see a lot of new product coming out, and I think that was one of the reasons why they decided to come back out with the economy quicker than anticipated, was there was a lot of releases that came out. And I don't know if you pay attention to that. I think PSA knows that they should gauge their releases and when they're releasing stuff when product releases, right? Because that's when they're going to get the most amount of traffic. So I think it was Mosaic Football that was released right when economy came back, and you can probably see thousands and millions of cards being submitted. So it all depends on price point, right? If you pull a LaMelo rookie card out of Prizm and raw, they're probably selling for what, 50, $60. Then no, I don't think you spend $200 to grade a base card, right? But down at $50, and if it PSA 10s, you make $300-400, then it starts making more sense depending on where you want your margins to be, right? It's like running a business at that point, and you're trying to guesstimate what your X variables and your margins are going to be.
100%. So, and I don't really have to too much say what you already kind of said. So we're gonna go on to the next one. Keith Summers says, "Is PSA undoubtedly the company to use for post 1981-85 cards? And what about pre-85 cards?" And you probably can answer that too because you're smart and he actually is one of my graders for PSA.
Not your only one, man. I'm jealous, man. You cheat on me.
It's okay, man. You're
Hey,
responsible.
but shout out to Sappy Sports Cars, man.
Happy birthday, Sappy.
Yeah, that dude's been in it for the longest time, man. And kudos to him and what he's been able to establish. Actually, the ventures that he went out with, he opened up his card shop, man. So nothing but respect for Sappy, man. He's been doing it a long time. He's a guy that I used, when I first started grading stuff, man. So major shout out and kudos to him for sure.
Yep. No, I'm just kind of cycling through some of these comments here.
Oh, but to that question though, the 1985. Look, I have a guy that I grade for in the Philippines, man, and obviously there was a trend that started showcasing more PSA 10s rather than Gem Mint 95s, and it kind of went from BGS over to PSA. Back in the day, BGS would outsell PSA any day of the week. There was a flip on the head, and I don't know if it was a Jordan PSA 10 that sold, and it kind of got everybody over to PSA. But I have guys that are crossing over, 9.5s, taking them out of BGS cases just to get them into PSA cases, regardless of what the grade is. And no doubt in my mind that a PSA card, regardless of its 1985 and after or 1985 before, if you get the right grade on a PSA card, it's going to bring in a lot more premium than any other grading company at this point. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a dealer of PSA and they're not paying me to say that by no means. But if you go in, you look up, completed searches and whatever platform you use to look up, graded cards or completed sales, you'll see that PSA cards, regardless of the card, if you compare apples to apples and grades to grades, PSA outperforms any other grading company at this point.
100%. All right, he's 100% right. I don't want to answer this question, but maybe you can answer that. After you answer
I don't know anything about that, man. I don't talk to anybody in jail. I don't know. I don't owe no child support. I don't know nothing, man. Don't come looking at me. Don't knock on my door. I don't know.
All right, so now we're done with talking about PSA for almost 20 minutes. We're going to talk about now, not basically, since football is over, what is next?
Hold on, time out. Can we talk about upside down 50 Cent real quick?
Upside down 50 Cent.
Yeah, man, we can't talk about the Super Bowl. We can't talk about moving on from the Super Bowl if we don't talk about upside down 50 Cent, man. Like, what the hell were they thinking?
I was more so thinking that he was more like a $1.50. He was a little bit bigger than I remember him being. He looked a little. Oh no. Maybe
so you're saying that I'm a little bigger than the last time I was on here. Man, so you're saying him and Zion on the same diet or what?
Man, well, I mean, I don't know. 50 Cent look like he takes care of himself, man. But I mean, obviously he's not 20 years old. He's probably twice the age now. And who knows? He's eating a lot better. So
what did Lil Wayne say? He said, "Man, they say I'm gaining weight. I tell him I'm getting paid. He's getting paid." I don't know if you watch Power or all of them, the books of Power, man, but I mean, I could give kudos to everybody, man, and I really do believe in giving people roses while they can still smell them, man. And so, kudos to that team over there. Honestly, I'm gassing up the whole 50 Cent thing, man. But honestly, that was the weirdest thing about that halftime show. And I looked up and I saw Upside Down 50 Cent. I said, "What the hell is going on, man?" But that was an awesome show. For me personally, being able to connect with a lot of the songs that were played and, some of the anthems that were going on during that show, it was pretty cool, man. And, whether or not you're into that, hip hop and rap, For me, growing up in that, and I know you, Raphael, it's something that really hit home for me.
Yeah, no, I understand. I 100% agree. Um, I actually enjoyed the halftime show. I loved every aspect of it. I felt like Kendrick Lamar. I like Kendrick Lamar, but I felt like he could have probably went Ice Cube. I actually felt like he was going to do NWA. I
Yeah.
was like, if he would have went NWA, I would have been like, whoa. That would have been the only thing I felt like would have took it to the next level. But Kendrick Lamar I felt like was the only thing that was kind of out of place a little bit. I mean, I know he's from LA, you know what I'm saying? He's a dope artist, but I feel like it would have paid more homage being, bringing back the dopest rap group of the 80s, you know what I mean? So it would have been really
Hey,
dope.
there's always next year, man. There's always next year.
No, man, he can't do what he did this year. It's no point. It's no point. I have to do something else.
Hey,
But
well, hey, I tell you what, bring NWA to Culture Collision, man. That's probably a goal in itself there, or have Ice Cube
yeah,
sponsor
I
the
can't
3-on-3
afford it.
tournament, man.
Yeah, I can't afford any of it. But you know what? Ice Cube can definitely to take care of that tournament. So Mark Sipe says, "Can I buy a ticket for Culture Collision at the door?" Yes, you can. The benefit of paying before you get to the door is you won't have to wait in the line. There'll be a scan line and there'll be a buy your ticket line. So we look forward to having you. And where are you coming from, Mark? If you don't mind, just chime in and let us know. And we're going to
Man,
talk
you have a scan at the line. You're getting high tech there, man. I don't think I've ever been to a show where they scan anything coming into a door.
Well, I mean, it's called Cultural Collision. We are trying to we are the future of sports card events. Oh,
And
so
I know we're going to talk a lot more about Culture Collision towards the end of the
yeah,
show.
I'm really trying to hold out a
We
little
can't
bit,
let the
man.
cat out
I'm
the
trying
bag
to
there,
eagerly
man.
talk
But
about it. I don't want to talk about it right now.
I will say this, man, and I know we'll get there, but I really enjoy that you're making it about the kids, man. You're making events for the kids because they are the future. They are the future of the hobby. They're the future of the world, future leaders, future presidents, and whatnot. And so you always got to incorporate them. So if you're not thinking about the future, then you're going to get left in the past. So kudos to that, and we'll probably move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
But I know you said now that the football season's over with, we are approaching, what is it? Spring training hype. So baseball's right around the corner.
Yes.
Hopefully they figure out how to end that lockout because I need to figure out where Correa's going. Being a Houston homer that I am,
Yeah.
and I think once that guy signs, a lot more dominoes are going to fall right after that, man. So I'm really excited to see that lockout, come to an end. To see what the deals are gonna, they're gonna make, and then see what the baseball season has in hand. So we're rolling out of football into baseball, and we've got NBA playoffs right around the corner.
There you go. So here's the thing, right? So the reason why this topic is very important that people are not paying attention to is now that football's over. Now, I'm gonna bring up an interesting fact, and you probably could attest to this. When's the last time you ever seen a Prizm Gold football card sell for $200,000?
You've never seen it, ever. You've never seen it. Why did LeBron Heritage sell for $100,000 out of 10
So
gold?
I mean, here we are now. We are in like the reason why I think this is important, right? Is because people are spending cause the thing people used to always say about football cards is it's not an international sport, so it never gets the love that basketball gets.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing football cards getting that love, and now the importance that I think that I really want to focus on for the people, the collectors that are out there and listening, is that now we're about to pivot that money to something else.
Right.
And stay tuned, guys. I think football, baseball, soccer, F1, all these different sports are going to
UFC, NASCAR. Yeah.
UFC. I don't know about NASCAR, but
Hey, man, I've seen some people going crazy over some NASCAR, man. Don't get it twisted, man. Everybody said the same thing about UFC, man, that it was too gimmicky, that it wasn't going to catch on. Same thing with F1 when Topps. I mean, man, Topps knows what they're doing, and I'm glad that,
yeah,
that they did sell out to Fanatics so we can still see some of them flagship cars that come out, man. But F1 is where it's at, man. Believe it or not, they have some sneaky buyers across the world that really pump that up. Hell, don't you have a car that you just got back?
yeah, we got a race
It's
card.
worth like 200,000.
I don't know if it's worth 200,000 yet. Yet. I don't know about yet. It's not yet. Vic is saying, "Told you about NASCAR." I do not. I'm more bougie than that. I like F1. I'm F1 in it. Oh, I'm
Oh
F1 in it
man.
right now.
Hey, there goes. Shout out to Superman is too, man. Cool guy, man. Honestly, if you haven't had a pleasure to meet that guy is he's legit A1. Nothing but great things to say about him. And see, look, there's one of your groupies right there, though, that you were telling that I was in
No,
retirement,
no,
man.
no, man. You were retired. That's what people were saying. I mean, people from New York was like, "It's Kobe, Kobe." I got video footage. Maybe I could play it.
Hey, I do have a question though, right? And
Yeah.
this show never goes scripted, right? So anyone that's
Nope.
ever listened to this show before, look, we have like a list of stuff that we rehearse and we go over before the show, but we never want to talk about too much on show day because we'll be all talked out before the show even comes. But
Yep.
I saw something that came out today that was pretty interesting. Now that we're talking about retirement, but did you see Marquise Goodwin? I think that's his name. Hollywood Brown. Marquise Brown. He
Yeah.
retired from the Ravens today to go into gaming.
Mm. What?
So they said over the last 6 months he's been increasing his I don't know what TikTok or something. And he and he was Thomas, damn it. But he was increasing his following in gaming, and now he has a platform for gaming, and so he's bypassing the NFL to go into gaming.
It's $1 billion industry.
I understand that, but
Do what you
I mean,
love.
the dude was pretty good.
Love. Do what you love. That's all.
Hollywood was pretty good. I guess he can go be Hollywood in gaming.
Yeah, gaming's $1 billion industry, man. They have professional sport basketball teams for NBA 2K now. They'll probably do a Madden league at some point in time. I mean, we'll probably have, think about
So
it, man.
you're
We
gonna
going to,
you're
going
gonna
to the
retire from
metaverse.
sports car to go to the 2K PlayStation League,
My,
or I
my
don't know, Xbox.
2K, my 2K years are done. My 2K gaming days are done. But honestly, us pivoting from actually it's crazy because it's kind of on topic. So we're basically supposed to be talking about how football is done, and we're pivoting over to moving on to non-traditional collecting.
Yeah.
So non-traditional collecting is kind of considered like F1 because it's not a part of the main sports that we're used to. Like I want to say within the last before 2019, 2018, 2017, we only focused on baseball, basketball, football. I mean, and everything else was kind of like,
Eh.
uh,
Well, I mean, Pokemon was kind of there to try
yeah,
to get
Pokemon
some
was there.
traction.
Yeah, Pokemon was there. Magic the Gathering probably was there as well. But I think that now we kind of like glorify those things, right? Is that safe to say? We glorify these things? Do we like look at them and say, you know what? I'm gonna go and give me an F1 card. But you know what was crazy about that? His F1 card is Lewis Hamilton, 8-time, like 7-time champion. I never even knew this between now and the last year, within the last 6 months. Well, actually, about a year ago, when I seen somebody rip a Topps Chrome box, and I'm thinking to myself, like, how much the box cost? It was like $500-600, and I was like, man, that seems cheap. I should rip because back then Prizm was $2,000-3,000. I'm thinking to myself, like, this is a cheap rip. Maybe I'll go ahead and buy a box or case or something. So to be able to own this card, buy it raw, grade it 9.5, I mean, it's a really dope thing. It's pop 2, and I share the pop with card collectors.
The rich get richer, man. That's all I can say.
Card
The rich
collectors.
always get richer, man.
Yeah, man.
Hey, but look, you got to get to where you're at, right? And we always used to talk about knowing your lane, right? You can't drive in the fast lane if you ain't got a fast car, right? And don't drive in the fast lane if you only got an ounce of gas, right? Because you're not going to stay in that fast lane for a long time, So know what your lane is, and if you don't know what your lane is, everybody has a different budget that discretionary income that they can do that can put together for this hobby. Some people have a lot more money than other people, and that's life, right? But there's not saying that you can't get into the hobby and enjoy it just because you don't have a lot of money. I mean, it don't take money to be able to be in this hobby, right? We talk about it all the time. Know your lane. know what your budget is, have a
Mhm.
plan in place. And at the end of the day, if you're in it for a hobby and you enjoy doing this, just buy what you like. Because at the end of the day, cards are going to go up, they're going to go down. And at the end of the day, if you buy a card, regardless of what the price is, but you like it because it's a player that you like or it's a product that you're fond of, then buy it and be okay with it. Don't care if the price goes up or down. Because honestly, if you get caught in that rat race, you're never going to be happy. You're never going to be satisfied. I can't tell you how many cards I've bought in my lifetime that I like the eye appeal to them, right? Whether it was a refractor or if it was a nice insert. And them are my favorite cards to the day. It don't have to be the most expensive card, especially if you're a hobby enthusiast, to be valuable, right? Honestly, just buy what you like, know your lane. And honestly, you can find avenues that make you happy regardless of how much money or how much of your budget is.
There you go. You heard it first. All right, so Joe Garza says, "What up, guys? Got a 2020 Optic Blue number 75 Justin Jefferson auto PSA 10 Pop 9 on Sunday auction for $425. Two previous PSA 9 sold in auction for $360. Is that a good deal? I don't know. I think the audience could probably answer that better than we could.
Oh
Audience,
man, look, I'm actually a big fan of Justin Jefferson, man. I think if you bought a blue out of 75 for 425, honestly, and it's more because it's off season, right? Is why you got it for 425. And understanding what the market is and how it fluctuates and how cards before the season have a lot of hype, and so it boosts up the value right before the season. If they start on go on a roller coaster deal on a train, and they start getting a lot of hype behind them, you'll see that market even go even higher up, like we saw with Burrow. So sometimes you don't always want to buy the hype; you want to buy the off season. And so yeah, that's definitely a great deal, a very good deal on a Justin Jefferson PSA 10. I think right before the season, you'll see that you might be able to make at least your money back. Right? I'll buy it if you don't think it's a good deal, but you'll probably be able to make probably double your money by the time the season comes back around. So sometimes it's about patience, sometimes it's about selling at the right moment. And if you're in it long enough, you'll kind of see what those trends are and when the buy and sell times are.
100%. That's definitely a buying window. I think you could definitely, at the number you got, you should be able to move it for. I think the word of thumb is, I guess, is like PSA 10, between PSA 10s and 9s are almost 3 times the
Yep.
value. So I mean, you definitely have some upside there, but it depends on what you're looking for. Justin Jefferson is as a good wide receiver, so I think you'll be fine. Oh man, I appreciate that, Thomas.
I don't know, man. More money, more problems. Uh no money, you still got problems, man. It ain't no problems, man. You still gotta eat.
Yes, Sniper says good deal. Thomas says those jerseys are sick. Can't wait to see mine. If this is the only way that you would get a jersey for Culture Collision is if you are playing in the basketball tournament. That is the only way you'll get one. All right. So besides that, we are at the point of the segment because we're about 40. We're 43 minutes for today so far. We want to answer as many questions as you guys have for us. If not, we could probably continue talking. If not, I'm going to talk a little bit about Culture Collision. I know we're about a week away from Culture Collision, and people keep saying to me, "Am I excited?" So I'm not going to go into too much detail about that right now in a second. But I mean, if you guys have any questions, feel free to jump in, and we will answer your questions at will. Sniper says, "I see a lot of big card pages investing in the NFTs. What are your thoughts, and are you investing?" I probably should answer that question because Kobe Collector, you want to answer? You want to answer?
Nah. Hey, I don't want to down talk. Look, I want people to watch this, right? And I want it to grow legs. I don't want to get it into a bashing of NFTs, man. So I'd rather hold my comments to myself because honestly, I can't talk to something I don't know about, right? And if I talk about knowing your lane, then it's just that. So I don't know enough about it. And like I tell people, you understand your lane, you come up with a plan, you do some research. And I haven't gotten to that point of doing research yet. I mean, eventually, if I have to get to that point, I'll do some research and I'll be more educated on it. But I really can't get behind something that I don't know about. So I can't say one way or another how I feel. So
Well, he said it. Be honest. This is what it's all about. So I'm glad you were able to do that. So for me, I have invested into some NFTs. Have I made money on NFTs? Absolutely not. But here's the thing about NFTs: is A, I don't have enough time to really focus on them because I'm focused on a lot of other things. So unfortunately, I haven't had a whole lot of time. But I will say this: the one thing I know about NFTs is they always say it's about the benefits, right? Or what do they call it? The like there's NFTs out here that have like special abilities, so to speak, where like people will sell you an NFT and they'll be like you a shareholder in a company where you'll get a residual off stuff that they got. Because I've actually seen companies actually use it as like a break starter idea. So if you buy into it, yep, exactly. Sniper Menace, he actually hit it on the head. It's called a utility. So for the people out there, I couldn't think about what it was called, but it's all about the utility of the NFT, which make the NFT special. So like I said, one of the NFTs that somebody was talking about. So if I started Culture Collision and I did an NFT, a special NFT, and I said, hey guys, if you buy all of my NFTs through the course of the 4 years, you'll get a residual off of the success of Culture Collision. Plus, you'll be invited to a special dinner once a year. That's the only way you're going to be able to get it. And that's the only way you're going to be able to buy this hoodie and then stuff like that. Some people see that as a benefit, man.
Nah, man, you can miss me with it, man. You can have that. I
You
don't
can
want
have
it.
that.
You can have
I
it.
mean, certain benefits are cool. I do see the benefit of the NFT
Hey,
and
give me my base
that,
card. You can have your NFTs.
huh? That's cool. I said I'm not invested, just curious. Yeah, I mean, honestly, Sniper Menace, to be honest with you, I think it's worth doing your research. And if you do your research, see, it goes back to Kobe Collector. You can't say that. You said it's all about staying in your lane. You got to
Stay
give
in my
Sniper
lane,
a
man.
chance.
I don't have a car that goes that fast for that lane.
So there you go. You got to give Sniper a chance to make the mistakes, learn from the mistakes,
I got you.
become better at it, and then he'll call me up or call you up and say, I figured it out, and he's going to come on the show and he's going to educate us. But actually at Culture Collision, one of the topics that we want to focus on is we want to talk about and dig deep into NFTs and figure out if it's a tangible investment, if it's something I should do. Because guys, honestly, for the people that are listening and watching, there's a lot of bad NFTs out there. So just take your time and figure it out for yourself. Let's see something here. Thomas Willer made a comment. He says, Mark, you're diving in heavy on baseball with prices not moving much right now. What players do you like?
I mean, I think if you look at Robert, right, and you see some of the stuff that he did towards the end of the last season when he came back from injury, the Astros did take him out in the playoffs, but we're not going to talk about that. I think I want a steak dinner off of that from a buddy of mine. But I think Robert is the perfect buy now candidate. I think you'll see the Jordans, you'll see them trending across Facebook and Instagram. People are looking out and buying those folks. But I think if you buy, Wander Franco base cards and you turn them over, I think there's a lot of good things that are happening. One thing that I've been buying a lot into as well is Bowman draft. This is the first year that I've actually got into that and the whole prospecting game. And so you'll see, the Luis Rodriguez. I love that guy's auto. He probably has the best auto that I've ever seen aside from King Griffey Jr., man. So if you're a auto and you like the aesthetics of what an auto looks like and they're on card of the Bowman Chrome cards, definitely take a look at that card. But if you're telling me my perfect low buy now candidate is probably going to be Luis Robert.
Yeah, I agree. White Sox probably should have won the title last year. Go Sox. And they didn't pull it off. Couldn't make it past Houston 2 years in a row. Sucks. But I do expect the White Sox to be good. I expect the Braves to be good. Maybe Acuna could be a good buy. I don't know how low he is right now, but
He's still high though. He's still high.
so
Him and Soto are pretty high. I mean, obviously, if depending what your lane is, I mean, obviously Acuna and Soto are good price points.
okay.
But they're actually, it's the off season, right? And they're heading to, so you're prospecting. But Juan Soto is probably going to be all time great. You'll see Acuna all time great. We want to see if Shohei can have a bounce back. MVP season again. Maybe he's gimmicky and it only happens once, and his body catches up to him. Dude's a freak, right? We'll probably never see that again in baseball. Maybe we'll probably see it more. Who knows? But I doubt it. I mean, dude throws 100 and dude hit 50 home runs in the season, man. I don't know if we'll be able to see that again, man. So Yeah, depending on where your price point's at, depending on where you're going to come in into the in the freeway, those guys are definitely buys, right? But buy low kind of guys, I would say Robert.
Yep. All right. Well, what about Mike Trout? I mean, Mike Trout. I know he was injured for a while and stuff. Dropped to the. It's probably the floor. Is it the floor right now for Mike Trout, or is it like what are we doing? We give it up on Mike Trout?
I never really bought. I've never bought into the Mike Trout hype. I mean, I know that he statistically his WAR is the best that have ever graced the planet. I know if you talk to a lot of the MLB players, they'll say that the best player in baseball is Mike Trout. It's just he's so high, right? He's so injury prone. The dude, I don't think Angels are ever going to win a World Series. So, I mean, are you just going to go statistically? He's the greatest player of all time, even if he's never taken his team. And I know it's more than just him to a World Series. I mean, how can you get behind that, right? And so maybe his cards still stay where they're at. Maybe they don't, right? But I don't know, man. For me, it's just about I like to see the dude on the in the playoffs, and that's where legends are made. And I don't know if his team will ever make the playoffs.
Good point. All right, so we're gonna move on a little bit. I know Sniper Menace. Now he bringing on something I care about. All right, so I would buy. He makes a comment saying I would buy. Oh, hold on. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit because Thomas Willer says something, and I think he had a really good. He says if you guys had $20,000 budget to invest with, how would you invest it right now under the current market?
I don't have $20,000, man. Maybe you can answer that question.
I don't have it either.
It just look, find what you like, right? I mean, you can go buy a bag of peanuts and sell them on the side of the street if that's what you like to do. But if you're in the hobby, find a sport that you like. Whether it doesn't have to be. It could be the non-traditional, that Raphael talked about today, or it could be the mainstream ones. The basketball, football, baseball of the world. But I mean, there's a lot of money to be out there, and sometimes you're going to be right, and sometimes you're going to be wrong. And to have longevity, you just got to hopefully be right more than you're wrong. Some deals you're going to make a lot of money, some deals you might lose, a little bit. So you try to mitigate your losses there, man. But honestly, find a sport that you like, find a player that you think might be, trending up and doing pretty good. For baseball, like I said, if it were me, I'd probably go out and buy some Luis Robert and really invest into him because I think he's going to have a bounce back season. If you want to go out and depending on what your margins and you want them to be, maybe you pick up some Acunas, right? Some low Acunas and put them up because that guy's going to have a pretty good season as well. The Braves won the World Series last year, and if he comes back, they're only going to get better, especially if they're able to bring a lot of the pieces back. So, definitely look at, if we're talking about baseball, look at some of those players. If you're looking at football, it's the off season, right? So Justin Herbert comes to mind, right? Go start bringing up some Justin Herberts. I think the young quarterbacks are going to have bounce back seasons. I think Trevor Lawrence, right? That's another one that had a lot of hype and he came in year one. But to be honest with you, if you look in the history of the NFL, a lot of people don't have really successful first seasons in the NFL. It's all about coming in, learning the game, learning the quickness of it. So you'll see guys like Trevor Lawrence. You'll see guys like Justin Fields. Lance, I got the dude's name, Lance from San Francisco, or Zach Wilson. You'll see some of the year two candidates come back, and they're perfect buy low candidates. Take a look at those guys if you're into football. So it's all about buying what you like, because you're going to enjoy it a lot more from an investment standpoint if you're able to look at those players that you enjoy watching and watch it grow.
100%. So for me, just so you know, if I had $20,000 and I was trying to invest, I don't think LeBron James could get any cheaper.
Right.
And if he does get any cheaper, I think you buy more. And I guess, is this a part of the depth of the base cards, or the base cards could, getting the revision of the base cards? But last time I checked, you could probably buy like a PSA 10 Bowman Chrome LeBron rookie for like $1,500. I mean, that's like, the card used to be like $8,000. I mean,
if the baseball writers of the world can keep Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens out of the Hall of Fame, the world can keep LeBron James cards lower than what they've ever been. Now, I can't sit here and say that LeBron isn't a buy. I agree with Sniper, man. He's looking like a whole Big Mac quarter pounder with cheese meal right now, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the hobby, and it's outside, and it's more than just a game of basketball that we're talking about. But I tell you what, I would want to buy, right? I think LeBron will play long enough to play with his son, right? And I think there will be a tribute card with the two of them in it, right? Whether he's playing alongside of them or playing against them. But I guarantee you, I would want to buy that card if it ever came out, especially
Mm,
if he was playing against his son. Imagine LeBron guarding Bronny, in an All Star game, right? That would be pretty amazing to watch if I must say so myself.
mm. Wow. I mean, it definitely hit it on the head. I mean, it's very interesting the whole situation with LeBron James. But here's the thing though, basketball overall is probably down, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like basketball, and it goes back to what I said about earlier when we talked about football. Now that football's over, now these, people probably not spending what they were spending on Joe Burrow before, he was about to win the Super Bowl. And obviously, and I said this before on podcasts before, who cares that Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl? Unless you're a Matthew Stafford fan. Just being honest. I mean,
but
like,
but check it out though, right? I think the reason why LeBron's cards are so low right now is because the Lakers suck, right?
yeah.
If the Lakers are doing good, the Lakers make the playoffs and they have a chance to win the championship, right? I think his cards wouldn't be as low as they are right now.
But
Right? Look at what happened to Brady, right? Brady's cards weren't I mean, they were selling good because he's a GOAT, right? But when he won that championship with Tampa Bay, right, leaving the Patriot system, thinking that he's just a system quarterback and coming over to the Bucks and winning that championship his first year there, I mean, to me, like that even amplified his greatness, right? And
yeah,
so imagine where his cards would have been at this year if he won it back to back, right? He probably was still playing this, he was still playing,
but what about
right?
yeah, give it a shot?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there wasn't even a surge. I mean, there was a slight surge that went up, but there wasn't a real surge that went when he announced his retirement. So I think it's about understanding that there's certain stuff that happens within the hobby, like winning a championship, winning an MVP, winning this, that, or the other, that
Mhm.
will increase that and show that hey, he still has it in him. He can still play. He's still great. But when you have these low points of your career, people tend to say, well, man, maybe he's not that good, right? Because they forget about how
Yeah.
great he was in the past. And we'll never see another LeBron James. I
Nope.
really hope that they make like a documentary, actual movie, like they did of Kurt Warner of this guy, because it would be amazing to see the journey that he had to go through and coming to for the chosen one at such an early age and what he had to go through as a young man to where
17.
he's at today,
Crazy.
dude. Pressure bursts pipes, and that dude never bursts.
Yep. I agree with that. I agree with that. Which also to me, I think is why he's a good investment. I mean, if you want to go the non-collecting route, maybe you buy F1. F1 is off season right now, and honestly, I think it's on pace to probably do have a really good year. I think F1 has opportunity to invest in. I mean, obviously, it's only 10 drivers to really choose from, so I mean, it's not really a whole lot there for you to kind of to go against. But basketball, I think, makes the most sense. There's a lot of people in the industry who are really undervalued, and nobody's going to really pay attention to the playoffs. I mean, it does suck, that people are not, don't appreciate the greatness of LeBron James because his team does suck. They might barely make the playoffs, may get a first round exit depending on who they play. I mean, it's definitely a frustrating situation, but I mean, I do hope that they can figure it out to be competitive and get a late run. So, and if they do, then I'll look like the card prophet, and people will say, "Man, well, he did say about LeBron."
Well, here goes how I think about LeBron, man.
I bought Joe Burrow too.
I think LeBron is one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Like Sniper said, he's going to break the NBA record for most points scored ever in the regular season next year. Right? I hate how people try to say, well, he's the first because he had 8 rebounds and 2 assists and 2 turnovers in a game. He's the first person to do that since Michael Jordan. I hate when they do that, but the records and the nostalgia stuff, like the most points scored or the most rebounds ever, the most strikeouts ever by a player. I mean, the most home runs ever. I mean, that kind of stuff matters, right? If we had a running back that beat Emmitt Smith's record, like that would matter. A receiver that beat Jerry Rice's record, that would matter. I don't think anybody will ever beat Jerry Rice's receiving, yards record, man. But I mean, it's just a matter of understanding greatness, right, and appreciating it, right. One thing I knew with Kobe's early death, and we couldn't really enjoy his life after basketball as much as we probably wanted to. But one thing that taught me, man, is that you really got to appreciate these guys while they're still playing. And sometimes they'll have low moments where you'll forget how great they really were. And Kobe did have some low moments where he was injured, and you kind of forgot about him, right? ESPN to really said that he was not in the top 100 basketball players in the NBA when he was still playing. I think that's disrespect, but I also don't think that you should give him just a lifetime achievement award either, man. But that dude could still go. He scored 60 points in his last game, but people need to understand that it's hard to do this, man. Yeah. It's hard to do what LeBron is doing. I mean, he hasn't had a catastrophic injury that took him out the game, and he's remained healthy, man. So yeah, dude, you can buy PSA 10 LeBron rookie card for under $800. Like, you'll never be able to get him this cheap ever again, right? Ever again. So yeah, I agree with you. He's a buy low candidate, but the reason why he's a buy low is because his team sucks.
But LeBron doesn't suck, so that's fine. No. All right, so good. Look, we're actually at the hour mark for the show. We really appreciate you guys chiming in for us for our first show, and probably, I don't know, it's been almost 6-7 months. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. And we really appreciate you guys jumping in. If anybody else has any additional questions, feel free to chime in. I'm probably going to talk a little bit right now about Culture Collision, unless you want to talk about some more stuff, Mark. I ain't trying to kick you off. I'm trying to respect our time. You know what I mean? So
nah, man, look, you got a few minutes, man. We talked about, we answered our questions that we needed to answer.
Yeah.
I'm grateful to be back, man. Thank you for putting it together. I got my lights. I got the computer, so when people call, my phone don't go haywire, and it's hard to get back on. I can't hear nobody. I remember going through podcasts and like, man, I can't hear you, right? And we jump in the private chat, and I said, I can't hear you. I don't know if you can hear me. And so, getting the mic and being able to really connect with you guys, man, is awesome. Yeah. But go ahead and talk about Culture Collision, man. It's awesome. It's volume 2, right?
I mean, yeah, it is volume 2. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is where Culture Collision was birthed from Prizm Gawds, the show. The whole idea was literally the educational part, the education. We talk about what we love. We enjoy doing it. And I felt like I wanted to do a show, a sports card event or a show that we can all appreciate. And I think that that's what Culture Collision is. We're going to, for the many people that don't know, or for the people that don't know what we're doing at Culture Collision is, we're going to have a sports card event like none other. We're going to have a lot of giveaways through the course of the show. We're going to have a basketball tournament at the show. We're going to have a Magic the Gathering tournament at the show. School of Glamology is going to be there doing teeth whitening, esthetician work. If you want to do something at the show, we're going to have it to where you can bring your wife, you can bring your kids. We're going to have a 3-point contest. We're going to just have a ball, have some fun for that weekend. And I'm glad that the people who are coming by and coming to hang out with us for the weekend are coming to hang out. And, and that's what it's all about for me. I mean, I don't get a chance to really be like a vendor when I did the last show. People was like, man, how'd you do it? I'm like, I was running around all the show. I didn't get a chance to really do anything. But this time I actually had my mom flying in from Chicago to come help me. And it's really kind of a big blessing to be able to have her be a part of the show because, like a couple years ago, she was diagnosed with cancer and she had lung cancer. So now, that she's feeling a little bit more comfortable traveling because at first, the first show we had to deal with the COVID, right? People don't talk about that. COVID kind of hurt things for a lot of people. And she was one of the people that was affected by it because she couldn't travel. She wouldn't travel. And I don't blame her, So now that she's able to kind of come out of the house, and I think you're coming to this is your first time coming to the show. It's gonna be fun, man. Like I'm just really excited to see everybody come.
Hey, as long as Bobby Brown ain't on my flight, man.
Oh man, no comments about Bobby Brown. All right, question. Keith Summers says, let's see. Keith Summers says, how exactly is trade night going to work? Well, the concept of trade night is a kind of like a mini show that's after the show that basically a bunch of people come together and they trade cards or buy cards or sell cards. Or
pretty dope. Some of the best deals happen during trade night.
Man, it's almost like overtime for the card show.
That damn Super Bowl could have went to overtime, man. Damn.
Man, so it's like overtime for the show. So it's like so basically trade night's going to start on Friday night with the opening night event sponsored by Collectibles. It's going to be at the Battery. They're doing, for the people who can drink, it's going to be free open bar for 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
It's at the Battery Live. It's right across. It's walking distance from the hotel. It's a beautiful venue. The Battery is beautiful if you've ever been there before. And it's going to be really cool and fun. And I'm not sure. I think there's a limited amount of bracelets. I'll probably have more information about that next week. I may be speaking too much about it, but just know it's going to be really dope. We're putting it together. Well, they're putting it together. I'm just kind of like, helping to get it, put it out there. And then kind of, that's basically it. And then trade night also is going to be on Saturday. And we're doing a big giveaway on Saturday night's trade night. So I'm not going to ruin that until next week. But we got some special guests coming in from out of town to help us break trade night on Saturday night. And that'll start, trade night's going to be from 9 p.m. in the lobby on Saturday at the Renaissance Waverly, which is Cobb, basically it's connected to the Cobb Galleria. So for the people that are coming from out of town or coming to the show, it's best that you stay at the hotel and hang out with us for the weekend instead of you staying somewhere else and coming and going. You ain't gonna do all that.
Is Michael Vick gonna come have drinks with us, man?
Chad Johnson's gonna probably hang out with us. I promised Loot Box Juice, and we're gonna try to get them to come to the table. We're gonna break a couple boxes. I might break a couple boxes on camera, and we're gonna have some fun, man. Let's just do what we do. Just do what we do, man. It's for the culture. And also, I'm buying sneakers too. I'm gonna have a sneaker contest at the show, so that's gonna be really dope. So you got to bring your best sneakers out.
I just bought some ones today, man. Went to go pick them up from Finish Line, man. Shout out to Finish Line. Picked up some Jordan. Picked up some Jordan 1s today. Nobody knows that you can go on, become a status member and actually reserve your shoes before they release. So that's actually something pretty cool that they release, man. Hopefully some people get behind it and actually don't get behind it because I'm tired of getting it sold out before I have a chance to buy them. Oh, man, not a professional. Probably like a bag of peanuts that they give you in first class on a bush flight.
No, it's all good, man. I appreciate you guys. See, Sniper says, how many tables are confirmed? For the record, we have over 400 tables that are confirmed. I don't have the official number yet because we're literally Fire Marshal kind of went through our stuff and like I'm trying to redo things. So I got to figure out how many my actual total is. But I assume by the time we actually do the show, it's going to be over 450 vendors. Just being honest, being transparent. We have over 400 now. But I think 450, which will probably be the largest show in the South. And we're going to push it, man. Like, I think that every show, we're going to push it, right? We want to get to 600. Eventually, I'd love to get to international levels of getting to 1,800 tables. And I don't know. I can't imagine dealing with 1,800 people because I don't like dealing with 600 people or 400,
man. You want 1,800? What does Sniper say, man? More money, more problems, man.
Hey, that's definitely the definition of more money, more problems. Because the reality is, man, putting on a show is a lot of hard work. I talked to my old partner Charlie today, and that was literally the one thing he said to me was like, "Man, I know you're tired." I'm like, "Yeah, I am tired," but something is like, I felt like I think that I think that is work that I don't mind doing because I enjoy putting this together, man. Like you said, like you talked about earlier, it's for the kids, it's for the culture. And I told them, man, they hated me the first show. I was like, man, I'll do this for free. I don't care about making no money. I make money doing cards. I don't have to do this. I don't have to make money doing a show. I'm doing this for us. Atlanta needs this. You know what I mean? This is what it was all about. Like, so that's where I was at with it. But it's nice to make money and do
It's
it
always
too.
nice to make money, man.
It's always nice to make money. But yeah, it's really dope, man. So I'm really excited about it. I appreciate you guys, Loot Box, for being a part of it. Sniper, appreciate you as well. For all the people that are watching and listening that are going to be there with us. Let me clarify too, because I know we sent out some emails. Early setup or vendor check-in will be Thursday between 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. on Thursday. The reason why that exists now is because initially Star Stock was supposed to be doing a event at Ross's shop, Champion Sports Cards, on Thursday. So I wasn't going to do an early setup because I wanted people to go to that event. But because that's not happening, I'm actually going to do an early setup. Well, I'm going to call it a vendor check-in. All right, so vendor check-in will be on Thursday between 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. So it might be 5 o'clock to 9 p.m. I got to confirm it, but when I list it, it's going to be next week. And all you do is just come in, you get your badge, your table will be at, and by that time, the place will be looking nice, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. You'll be here on what day, Mark?
Try to get there Friday morning.
Late. Coming late.
Hey, man, I'm not rich like you, man. I'm not used to money. I gotta find some freaker flyer miles, man.
No, he said, nah, that's too big. 600 is a perfect number. Cyber Minutes, I agree, man. But I don't know, it's just the nostalgia of Nationals. People just love the nostalgia of Nationals. It's the Nationals. So, but hopefully people feel that way going forward on Culture Collision. I'm glad you coming this time too. You missed the first one too, Sniper. And my boy Vic, he was at the last one. Very good supporter, very good friend. I actually know him from the sneaker culture. So, and he literally pivoted from the sneaker culture to coming to the card culture, and now he's buying in. And to me, we don't talk about this enough, and I said this on another podcast, and I know we got to go, but you know how important it is to buy in to whatever you want to do to become successful.
That's anything in life, man.
It's it. People don't understand you have to buy in. You gotta, so if you want to do cards and you want to make this what you want to do for the rest of your life, you have to buy in and you gotta be able to believe. And I don't go to shows and I tell my friends this all the time. Wiz the Collector, Mike, shoot, my wife. I don't go to shows wishing I'm gonna make a deal happen. I go to shows knowing I'm gonna make something happen, and that's a different attitude. So I hope you guys take that, let it resonate with you, and man, it'd be great. Let's be great.
Thank you for having us, man.
You want to do the song before we leave?
Do I want to do something?
Let's say you want to do this. Should we do the song? You want to play the video before we leave?
Yeah, man, play that video, man. We out.
You sure?
Yeah,
you sure? You play video, we out?
Yeah, video, we out, man.
Man, I appreciate it. Vic, I appreciate you guys too, man. And some people do say we paved the way. We paved the way, baby. And we're going to keep going and we're going to keep building this bridge and we're going to do it like this.